If you haven't met Rick yet, he's our resident curmudgeon. So
Yeah.
Today, we are privileged to have join us a very distinguished speaker. I call on U.S. Past Area President, Monsieur Phil Sammer, to introduce our VIP.
Thank you, Rick. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you the President and CEO of the YMCA of Honolulu, Greg Waibel. Waibel began his professional career with Arthur Anderson LLP in Los Angeles, where he served as Senior Business Advisor from 1992 to 1995. He went on to serve in various leadership positions in agribusiness and biotech, including as the CEO in Brazil and other roles in the United States before coming to work for the YMCA. Prior to serving as CEO of the YMCA of Honolulu, Waibel was the Chief Operating Officer of the YMCA of the North, YMCAN, that serves the metro, southeastern, and northern areas of Minnesota and western Wisconsin. In other words, it's a really cold place. In recognition for his work at the YMCA, Waibel was named Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal's CFO of the Year in 2009 and 2013. Waibel received his undergraduate degree in accounting from the University of St. Thomas and his MBA in finance and strategic management from the University of Minnesota. Please help me welcome Greg Waibel.
Well, thank you, Phil. I'm going to share my screen and give you some reflections and talk about the YMCA of Honolulu. So thank you so much for inviting me. For those of you can see, I just went a surgery a couple weeks ago. It's healing, so sorry a little bit for my appearance. But wanted to start around the pandemic, right? So we're at a place where I think hopefully, at least here in the US, we can see some pathways to when that pandemic might turn into maybe an endemic. But I think it's also, and we've had over a year of this, but I think as we're starting to move forward, one of the things that I've done and was recommended to me was to write a pandemic letter and ask yourself these series of questions. So, what were you feeling? What did you lose? What experiences? What did you overcome? What did you learn? What surprised you? And what's different about you, maybe thinking back a year ago? So you'll have these in your recorded notes here, and you can go back and do that. So those who have done a pandemic letter, just wanted to share some of the excerpts that have come from it. So, quote, "I now see discomfort as an indication that I'm going through a period of change, that the reason I'm feeling discomfort is because I'm doing something I haven't done before." And then another quote, "I found that it's often worse anticipating discomfort, the early stage, and then we adjust and becomes an easier burden to bear. We go stronger versions of ourselves after, and often look back wondering, why was I so scared before?" So anyway, I thought it was a great tool or thing for you to think about and do as we start emerging. There's some more quotes, but I'll keep on moving. I only have 15 minutes. I can be a talker, so I'm gonna keep moving. So the YMCA of Honolulu, as we were going through the early stages of the pandemic, of course, we were mandated closure of our health and wellness facilities. Our A+ programs weren't operating because there was no in-person school. So what did we do? So we repurposed our facilities, and our team began to focus on distant learning, where kids were coming to the YMCA, using their devices, connecting to the school systems, and then we're doing before and after care, helping working parents continue to work and kids continue their education. We were supporting hungry families. We were doing outreach to Kapuna. And then we were working on retrenching and refocusing. We continued our support of youth facing drug and alcohol abuse. So that's largely been what we've been up to in the past year, especially in 2020 prior to my arrival. Now, as we've started to emerge, we've added more activities and opportunities for the Y to serve community. I wanted to talk about what we're seeing, or what I'm seeing, I guess, around what are the community needs. And we know that the Y is here to serve community needs in whatever they exist. And so I want to highlight what I'm seeing in terms of things that we're paying attention to and what we might want to do. So if we're to take a look at youth during this pandemic, we know that they've had lots of challenges related to both academics, of course, and I think that's been widely covered and talked about. But we also know that their social and emotional support has been shaken, right? So if they're working or doing school from home, that home environment might not be ideal. They probably haven't been able to see their friends. We know that school in person is a place that's much more than just school. It becomes their social environment, their emotional support, etc. Some of the things that we know is there's been some delayed speech for kids who haven't had opportunities in school. They've had reduced cognitive and social stimulation, higher rates of housing and food insecurity, rising rates of neglect and household dysfunction, more adverse childhood experiences, if you're familiar with ACEs, and then high rates of depression, anxiety, obesity, stress. Just one statistic here, the ER visits were up 24% for the younger kids and 31% for the teenagers, largely due to mental health symptoms. I was talking with one of my professional colleagues about this very fact this year. And if you think about this, if you go deeper with this concept, how bad must a kid be suffering for them to be taken to an emergency room for treatment? Think of, normally maybe you'd call a psychologist for help, et cetera, but it must be so bad that you actually have to show up at an ER. So, and then we know that there's been achievement gap that's been exacerbated. They're estimating between 15 and 20%. We start looking at Kapuna and adults. The statistics here are as well equally staggering. I know that I can relate to some of these things as an adult personally and individually. So we know that there's been 50% of increase, and these are statistics that come from a psychological report that was done in February of this year. And so 50% increased stress, 61% with undesired weight changes, and the average weight change, hold on for this, 29 pounds. That seems just amazing. I can't believe the data, but that's what the data suggested. 23% are drinking more alcohol to cope with their stress, altered sleep patterns, 2/3 of people, 33% higher levels of anxiety and depression, 12% have considered suicide in the past 30 days in the study. And then imagine those parents with children under 18, 31% said the mental health has worsened, and it's even higher for moms at 47%. Let's see, 55% of dads gained weight, and 48% are drinking more to cope. So that's just the data and telling you what's happening out there. I think you can see this really puts forward some places where the YMCA is very relevant and has work to do. And so we see that our out of school time with A+ or summer intercession is very critical to the needs and supporting kids where they're at. We've included what's called trauma-informed care, and we could do a whole session on what that looks like, but from the name trauma-informed, what it is it takes a look at people's experiences and tries to help our team, our staff, those working with kids, understand how you might deal with them in a way that's helpful to kids. We know that there's this health crisis, both the mental and physical health, and then we have this continued needs and solution that we need to evolve to meet them. So just maybe now talking specifically about the YMCA of Honolulu, some of our challenges and opportunities that we're seeing. So one of the things is we're experiencing the higher pay needed to recruit for frontline workers. We're experiencing that ourselves. There's lots of government funds and programs that are flowing. I might just back up. Last year, the YMCA of Honolulu was ineligible for any federal government supports like the payroll protection program. We were eligible now. At the very end of December, they changed some of those rules and that made us eligible. We also, so that's been very helpful financially for us during this period of time. We also became eligible for this employee retention tax credit, which was also passed as part of the ARP earlier this year. And so that's been helpful for us. And there is government funds that are coming down related to some of the childhood issues that I've talked about. Nobody has talked about funding the health crisis yet. I think I understand at some level, we have some other priorities out there and some very dire things to address. But at some point, I think people are going to recognize that we are in a health crisis and I can be helpful there. We know that there's not enough preschool seats. We see opportunities for our YMCA to add during the pandemic. We also added, I think it's about 50 preschool seats on a temporary basis to help. And now we're working on what our strategies are to add some more preschool. We know that the more out of school time services that we can provide, the better kids are. So we're working with the DOE and we actually got them to agree to allow the YMCA and other providers to use the school buildings during the summertime. So that gives us more space and more opportunities to serve. We know that there's lots of opportunities on mental and physical health. We see some opportunities with partnership with others. We're of course going to work on the preventative side of this before you get to the sick care, chronic levels of need. And then thankfully I actually was able to hear just the last few minutes of Cassidy talking about equity and how that's so important and relevant to our work and how we need to incorporate that. All right, so what I would see as the role of our service clubs, we need your continued support. So thank you for all that you've done, both historically and currently. There is a need and a role that you play, and so thankful for you. We would love that you're open to new solutions to meet our community needs. This is a time of transition of our YMCAs, and many of you have been involved for a really long time and have seen evolutions of the YMCA over the years. This too will be a time likely of great evolution of our work. Help us with advocacy and open doors. So where you see things that the Y could be doing in partnerships and relationships, don't be shy, help us. And then volunteers run this organization. We're a volunteer-led organization at the YMCA. And so people like yourself are the backbone of how we exist and how we work. So I just wanted to say mahalo for all of you. And I will stop sharing my screen and I will let Phil determine if there is any time for questions or if I'm all done.
Thank you very much, Greg. Any questions from the audience?
There was some question, Greg, about the source of the statistics?
Yeah, yes, so it was the American Psychological Association study. I can grab the exact source for you, and I'll put it in the chat box when I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. Must have done a great job, Greg. Nobody has any questions.
Well, I would just say thank you. Would love to be in person whenever we do this again. And I know that I met some of you, but I look forward to meeting all of you over time. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
And I hope you feel better soon.
What used to happen to his surgery? What, I don't know, skin thing.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Greg. And you can count on us wise men and women at any time. We
Always.
fully support the YMCA.
Mhm.
And in regards to this pandemic, I always ask myself, what meetings do I attend when this is all over? Weight Watchers or AA? Okay, can we take a break? No?
No,
Bobby, are you ready?
Actually, we're going right into Wendy. We're going to be hearing from
Oh, yeah, I
Wendy.
forgot
Since
Wendy,
she was
Wendy,
kind
Wendy.
enough to join us. Oh, Wendy,
Okay,
thank you so much.
okay, Wendy, unmute and you have the floor.
Who's Wendy?
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Were
she's
you
a-
guys gonna play the
Islander
video or
boy.
no?
What?
I have your video. Just let me know when you want me to play it, or if you want me to play it
Would you
now
like
or
to?
after.
Yes. Would you like to play it first and then I'll talk after?
Okay,
I thought I
sounds
was
good.
supposed to,
Okay.
I'm
I
gonna
thought I
share the
was
screen.
supposed to explain the video first.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Ken from Hilo. In preparing the club service project videos, I was told to emphasize Wendy and the YMCA programs. And this makes sense because if you look at our club report, a lot of our club activities overlaps with supporting Wendy's programs. So you can see where we were helping and all that. But I should mention that two projects that we kind of rushed to make that video. And so that was like Thursday night. But we didn't include two major projects. One is Wendy's boating program, which she can describe. And the other is their help with our club's annual Christmas tree sale. So anyway, we put together, and the original video is about high def quality, but to be able to email it to Honolulu, I had to reduce the picture quality down. So it might look a little blurry, but I think it'll look okay. So I'll have Wendy at least introduce herself, and maybe after you might have questions for her after the video. Okay, Wendy, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Wendy, and I'm born and raised in Hilo. I'm a product of our private school and our public school system. I attended University of Hawaii at Hilo, where I received my degrees. And I'm just a local girl doing local things and helping our local community. So you can go ahead and watch my video, and then I'll talk again after.
Hi, my name is Wendy Botelho, and I am the Island of Hawaii YMCA CEO. This is an exciting place and an exciting time to be involved with the YMCA. We have a wonderful program for youth. It's called New Horizons. We've been doing day camp for about 1.5 years now during the COVID times. We are happy to report that there has been no COVID cases here at the YMCA. The staff is diligent and works really hard on keeping the place clean and safe for all of the children. It's exciting times here at the Y. We're getting ready. Next week, we start our new summer program. It's called New Horizons 2021. We have about 130 children registered. We're excited for them to come. We have a lot of activities planned and just lots of fun. We do things like having sports. We have themed weeks. We do arts and crafts, and I like to call it old school arts and crafts because we try to throw away that laptop and those iPads and all of those devices, and we bring the children back to the day when they can actually do things with their hands and, you know, using macaroni and that old Elmer's glue and tacky glue. And those are the kinds of things that we want to teach the children and share with them. A few other things that we do here at our camp is we teach them cursive writing, because nowadays no one learns cursive. It's an electrical signature, right? So we're trying to teach them how to write cursive. We also teach anger management. We use a series of books to teach the children that worries are not forever, and that has been something that really helped us with the behavior for the children. During these last few months, we were able to receive a grant through Vibrant Hawaii for childcare, and we were able to teach the children science, which is with 3D printing. This is one of the products that we made through 3D printing. They were able to design our island of Hawaii, which is the big island. We have many nicknames about our island. It's so big. We have a park in YMCA, and we are doing our family visitation program in YMCA as well. Through our 3D printing, we were able to print the island of Hawaii and make nameplates, which will be hanging them up in our halls here at the Y. We also have other programs besides our child care program. We have another program called Kukua Health, where we attempt to sign up people who need medical assistance. We also work with youth and government. We have that program going on. We're going to be starting up with Hilo High and Waikea High schools, in addition to the already existing Ka'u High School. That's exciting. We have our family visitation program. Family visitation is a domestic violence program that we assist the children to visit with the parent who got asked to leave the family home due to some circumstance between mom and dad. So we arrange visits and we make it a very good Kodak moment for the child. We are currently under construction in certain areas of our building. We have added on new bathrooms and showers for our gym, and we are just fixing up our building that is quite old and in need of dire repair. So if you've ever find yourself on the Big Island, come on by 300 West Lanikaula Street and come and check out our YMCA. It's a wonderful place.
So you got to see a little snapshot of our little old Hilo YMCA. It's an older building, but we are getting the construction. The fixer-up construction, that's working well. They're about halfway complete. We've been allowed to move back into our large multi-purpose room, which that's just perfect timing because camp is on Tuesday. So we're excited. 130 kids gonna come into our doors this week. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. This is called Worries Are Not Forever. So, you know, when the pandemic started, we were taking care of children who were angry. Our population that we cared for were our police officers, our nurses, our doctors, and our fire department personnel's children. So these children came to us with mixed feelings. Their parents was out working. All the other kids got to stay home with their parents because all the other parents all just stayed home, right? Everybody became unemployed or used all their sick leave or their vacation, and they were able to stay home with their kids. Well, these kids were thrown out and coming to stay at the YMCA. Well, maybe I really shouldn't say thrown out, but I know you guys all understand what I'm saying when I'm saying that, because all of us have people who are in emergency personnel, who are those workers who have to work no matter what. We have those in our families. So when the kids came to us, they were upset. We had so many broken devices from the schools because the kids were just so frustrated about doing distance learning. I got my group leaders were instructed that they had to learn how to do this in addition to everything else they were doing. We were doing all of distance learning with these kids, with us having direct contact to the teachers. So we kind of looped the parents out where the parents were able to just work those 12 and 13-hour shifts. So it gave a relief to the parents, but it wasn't a relief for the children. So we started using this book, Worries Are Not Forever. We created this student support center. So we turned an old visitation room into a student support center where we made the room blue, different shades of blue. On the ceiling, we painted clouds, and we have beautiful things of sailing and cute sayings around. And we have a gray couch with some light colored for other pieces of furniture in there. We'd bring the children in there and we would read them this book. Instead of lecture them on their negative behavior or why did you break your machine? Now your mom's gonna have to pay the school because she signed a contract with the school to bring this device home. And you know, all of these things are going on in these little minds. So this book lets the children know that worries come and go. Worries will be here for a moment, and it's how we're going to deal with it at the moment and what happens after. So we took this book, and I got several copies of it. And, you know, I really need to say so much thank you to, I don't know if you folks know who she is, but her name is Charlene Iboshi. She used to be one of our she was our prosecutor here in Hilo, and she's made it her life's mission to take care of children in domestic violence situations. So this book stems off of one of the organizations that she and I belong to, which is the Zonta Club of Hilo. I'm sure some of you have heard of Zonta. Zonta is a group that is composed of women leaders in different cities and towns, and it's international, same as the Wise Men's and Women's Club. So that organization funded these books. So we have the whole series of the books. We actually have about 3 series of the books where we're able to have the leaders read this regularly to the kids and talk. We have what we call pandemic education. So I come up with different lessons, and I come up with worksheets so similar to Keiki Heroes. And we teach the children every week about the pandemic, different areas. We just touch upon it. We kind of make it like a way of life for the children so that it becomes like just part of us, you know, like how the volcano is part of us, right? We all know where the volcano is. We know we're going to get an earthquake. If the earthquake comes, all we do is go for shelter. After that, we're okay. It'll be okay. We look up, oh yeah, it's shooting because it's red, it's glowing on that side. We all know this living here on this island. We made the pandemic be like that for the children. So a lot of the children's behaviors we noticed after we focused in on the book and the student center, we noticed that the behaviors got better. We were able to do more things with the kids. You know, that made all the difference. So, you know, and this is something good for all of us to remember, even as adults, that worries are not forever. they go away. Yeah. So anyway, does anyone have any questions for me?
Wendy, you have the time to do everything, Wendy. You're amazing.
Well,
You've been doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I spend long hours here, and so do my directors. It's been hard. I've been here at this YMCA for 3 years. I'm retired from the state from executive government and from human services, Department of Health. I've been a while in a few of the different executive departments. So it's been a long time. But I use the different contacts that I have made throughout the years to help the different programs at the YMCA. And it's been wonderful because it's taken a while to get the correct staff here.
I'm sure.
To understand what the YMCA is about and the philosophy versus looking at the dollar bills and, you know, all of that. I kind of look at programming and then I go the other way. So, and
Wendy,
that seems to have been working for this YMCA. Yes.
Wendy, explain the boating program because that's really unique for all the Hawaii YMCAs. And
Okay.
what kind of kids are you serving with that? And
Okay. So we just finally opened up the sailing program. We rent a space from the Department of Land and Natural Resources out in the Kauai Harbor. So that's on the side that there's Waikoloa. Everybody familiar with the Waikoloa side? Okay, so we have a piece of property out there. We have a few mats and containers on, a Goki fund paid for the fencing. And we were finally able to secure a volunteer to manage that program. So I work closely with that volunteer director. And I am proud to say in 2 weeks, we will start first week of a 6-week camp with our sailing program. So we will have 3 weeks of beginner sailing. We'll have 1 week of advanced, and we've been contracted out for 2 weeks of private sail instruction.
Wow.
And they're on topper boats. So I'm really excited about the program because it offers something even bigger for our local kids. You know, over here through Kamehameha schools and explorations, and even on your island for explorations, you know, they all go in at 5th grade and do their exploration thing for a week. And then that's pretty much it. Well, all of our local kids who go and get the Va'a experience can now learn Western way of sailing. So how much more advanced will that make our local child who can do the Va'a and who can do Western way of sailing? So we will be producing some very advanced sea people. So that's an exciting place to be.
Well, thank you again, Wendy. Hopefully one day we'll get to see it in person. That'll be great.
When are you coming?
Next year.
Okay, maybe
When
we can,
Bobby invites us.
maybe we can have something here and I can host you folks. I would love that.
Thank you. We've been.
Wendy, this is Phil Sammer over on Oahu.
Hi, Phil. I remember you.
Yes, nice to see you again. How are you doing with adult fitness?
With the what?
Adult fitness programs?
Oh, adult fitness. Right now, we're open, but we're not open at 100%.
Yeah.
We're open, I want to say at maybe 40%. However, whenever we're open, we're packed. I have 1,800 gym members. Yeah, it really went kind of nuts. I just kept on doing different things in the gym. I offered different classes. I'm so excited. You know, we're going to have booty dancing. Do you know what booty dancing is?
We can guess.
Yeah. So right now, you know, we're at about the 40%. I kind of focused in on the childcare because that was the need of the community.
Right.
So, you know, I had to pivot. I just kept pivoting and I was worried. I thought I was going to fall in the pandemic, but you know, somebody was watching me and I never fell. So that was awesome. So we're at 40%. In about a month and a half, we will be at about 60% in operation
Wow.
in the gym. And then by 2.5 months, we'll be at 100%. My goal is to open 24 hours, and I will have classes on schedule and going from 6 o'clock in the morning all the way until about 9 o'clock at night. I'm also bringing back salsa and the whole Latino program.
Wow,
Yeah.
pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this new program that I'm designing. It has to do with food and nutrition and gardening, and then we'll incorporate one-to-one training inside of the fitness center. So, what was that? It'll be a 12-week course, and I'm going. I have 2 instructors all set up, ready to go. So it's going to be like a co-op because it'll go 6 weeks with the food, the gardening, and the nutrition. And then it'll go 6 weeks in the fitness center with the personal trainer. So it'll be like a 12-week session for this particular class. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, the people who were in that first co-op cannot sign up for the next one, but they can sign up for the following one. Because, you know, a lot of my guys, they like to just like whole cheese everything and just keep doing all the stuff that I'm throwing out there. But I really want to spread it as far as it can go. So I'm putting in that stipulation for them. But my members are excited. You know, throughout the whole pandemic, they were calling me all the time personally. And they would, you know, check on how I'm doing and check on how everybody else is doing here and what we're doing and how's the kids and all this stuff, because I kind of had to tell my members to kind of stay home. You know, they were always used to coming here for lunches, for doing different things, because I would make different kind of parties for them throughout the days and whatever season we had. So, you know, the members, this like a family over here.
Well, thank you again, Wendy. We really appreciate your spending. We never get a chance to talk with you. We can always talk Greg's ear off here, but we don't get a chance to talk story with you. So thank you.
Anytime anybody wants to talk to me, call. You know, you can call the Y or you can call me on my cell phone. I answer the cell phone faster than anything else, or text messaging.
Thank you again.